It also can maybe refresh your understanding. So basically, why do you study Dhamma? Why do you attend all these classes? Yeah? Can we start from there? Yeah? You want to understand what? The teaching first, isn't it? True or not? If you don't understand the teaching, you cannot meditate, isn't it? A lot of people say, Bertil, I want to become enlightened. I want to learn meditation. So straight away they want to go into meditation. But they don't even know the teaching. Like just now, I purposely, the whole of the session, the only thing is I almost use up the half an hour to give you the instruction. But this is recorded, very useful. It is a very, very complete summary. A lot of you all doesn't know what method and technique are. And sometimes you become gullible when people tell you, you do this type of meditation. They call it Vipassana. That word Vipassana, like very special. You get yourself very excited over that word. So actually Vipassana has two parts. One is we. The first part is we. Then Pasana. We stands for the three universal characteristics of nature. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, which is the core teaching of the Buddha. He said, you want to really become enlightened, you must insight into these three universal characteristics. Anicca, dukkha, anatta is a Pali word. Anicca is impermanent. Dukkha is suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Then third one is anatta, empty nature or existence or non-self, not a permanent unchanging entity. So this we is a very unique word. And these three universal characteristics of nature, according to the Buddha, is a universal characteristic that is inherent in all things, all phenomena. Everything that you come to experience in life, they have these three universal characteristics. That's why for a cultivator who has awakened or become enlightened, this universal characteristic, which is part of the truth that the Buddha talked about, this universal characteristic, they are everywhere in the midst of life and nature. That's why I always use this word. Truth is everywhere. The universal characteristics of nature is everywhere in the midst of life and nature. Why can't you see? For those who see, they always see, because they are everywhere. So this is the uniqueness of his teaching. Then Pasana is to insight into. That's why you combine these two words, means you are developing a type of meditation which will allow you to insight into the three universal characteristics of nature, which means you can become enlightened. But what a lot of people don't understand is, this Vipassana cannot be practiced. You don't go and quote me, otherwise people will come after me. If you really understand, you will know why Vipassana cannot be practiced. Because Pasana, there's an A. Why nobody saw this? What is Pasana? Pasana is to insight into, isn't it? Insight into is not a knowledge at all. When you insight knowledge is wisdom. No? You understand? Means with the penetrative wisdom, you insight into the three universal characteristics. Means you have to awaken to the three universal characteristics. And only the silent mind, which is beyond thought, beyond mind, can insight into phenomena. So if you go and do all the meditation using thought-based, using thought, you can never insight into the three universal characteristics. You can never awaken. But the awakening is from the true mind, the silent mind. That's why a lot of people don't understand all this. They thought the method, the technique, is the Vipassana. No. Whatever you develop, if you can arise the wisdom that allow you to insight into the three universal characteristics of nature, that itself is Vipassana. And that one is not a method and a technique. It's how you cultivate, how you train your mind, how you develop the silent mind, how you can really awaken insight into the three universal characteristics. And the steps involved in cultivation, the Buddha has actually laid them down very clearly. He said there are 3 steps in cultivation. First, you have to develop Pariyatti. What is Pariyatti? Huh? What is Pariyatti? Learning of the teaching. Like what I say, you have to learn the teaching. You must understand what the Buddha teach. What is his teaching? So learning of his teaching. Or we call it dhamma. Dhamma is the Buddha's teaching. That's why we have Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And what is Dhamma? Dhamma is truth. That's why he teaches truth, reality, nature's law. All the truth or nature's law that governs life and existence, they become Dhamma. And this is the essential Dhamma of the Buddha. So you have to learning of his teaching. Then second one is what? Phase 2 of the Dhamma. Patipatti is what? You put what you have learned into into practice. Means you cultivate the teaching. So that you can develop the enlightenment or the awakening. The third stage is what? So this is stage 1. Then this is stage 2, then stage 3. Stage 3 is Pativeda. And what is Pativeda? Friction of your hard work. Friction of your hard work. Means you get to live the life of an enlightened being. And this is the most rewarding phase of your life. Stage 3. Or they call phase 3. Stage or phase. Phase 1 of Dhamma. Actually, it can be phase also. Phase 1 of Dhamma, or stage 1 of Dhamma. Then phase 2, phase 3. So now we come to phase 1 first. The learning of his teaching. What did the Buddha teach? Why is this teaching so special? Just now I already explained. Who is the Buddha first? Who is the Buddha? He is not only enlightened, he is fully enlightened. And how does he develop the enlightenment? He cultivated over a period of 4 asankaya kalpas. Do you know how long is it or not? 4 world cycles. And the world cycle is very, very long. Billions and billions and billions of existence. One world cycle is like our universe, our present universe. When it arises, sustain itself, then it goes through the expanding phase. Then it goes through the decaying phase. Then it ceases to be. Even our planet Earth, just one of the planet, not even including all the other star system, everything. Our planet already more than 10 billion years. And this is not even one phase or 1/4 of a world cycle. So world cycle is very long. So he has cultivated over aeons and aeons and aeons of life to perfect his understanding. That's why he is very unique. And he is able to perfect himself until he becomes the fully enlightened one. That's why we call him the Sama Sambuddha. He's not only a Buddha, he is the Sama Sambuddha, fully enlightened, perfect in all aspects. So he has perfection in virtue and wisdom. You can say he is the wisest and the most virtuous living being ever to arise in this universe. So to have him, such a great being, to be our teacher, what must you have? You must have great. What must you have? Gratitude and respect towards such a great being, isn't it? That's why your faith, your gratitude is there. And this teaching that he has given us, because of his aeons and aeons of perfection and understanding, he was able to summarize all of his teaching into just 4 beautiful noble truths. That's why he called it the 4 noble truths. And this 4 noble truths is very, very unique. Why are they called noble truths? Not ordinary truth or ultimate truth or special truth. Noble truths are truths that can make you noble ones. During the time of the Buddha, an enlightened being is a noble one. Why? Because enlightened beings are very noble in all aspects of their life. They have noble qualities. That's why the Noble Eightfold Path are all the noble characteristics of an enlightened being. They have right view, which is wisdom, right understanding. Then they can only arise right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And these are perfect virtue, incapable of negativity. Then they constantly arise the 4 right effort to purify. The right effort to prevent the arising of unwholesome state of mind, maybe action, speech, or thought. Then the right effort to abandon those negativity of action, speech, and thought that has already arisen. Then the right effort to cultivate all the right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood that is still not in you. Means all the virtue, all the wholesomeness, the goodness. Then the last one is the right effort to purify, to refine upon and perfect all this virtue, goodness, and wholesomeness. Then after that, they are ever mindful because they have this power factor of mindfulness. Then they have samadhi. Sati and samadhi will allow them to constantly live the noble life of an enlightened being because they are ever mindful, constantly meditative. And because of that, wisdom keep on arising and their right view is very, very stable. That's the reason why the 4 noble truths is very unique. These are truths that can make you noble ones or enlightened ones. So when you understand that his teaching is so wonderful, so important because it brings about great transformation in the living being, not only you can become more virtuous, more kind, more generous, more loving, more compassionate. But it has another component, which is wisdom, that can enable you to confront life, live life without suffering, without having any problem. That's the uniqueness of his teaching. That's why his teaching is very, very important. And because of that, the moment I came to know his teaching, 1979, I went all out to cultivate this teaching. I never turned back. Because to me, if you want to come to this world, existential world, you better come with all this understanding. Otherwise, you are miserable. You will be afflicted. You will have a lot of suffering and misery. So this is what this teaching is all about. And the Four Noble Truths I have already just now briefly mentioned, but now we can go into it deeper. The Buddha said there is a first Noble Truth that expounded the prevalence of suffering. He said suffering or dukkha is everywhere in this world. And there are 8 conditions can bring about suffering if you don't have the understanding of his teaching, the wisdom that he has taught us. So what are these 8 realities? He said the first 4, as Chinese I think, we always hear about this, but most Chinese don't like these 4 things. Birth, old age, sickness and death. They like the opposite 4. What are the opposite 4? What are the opposite 4? They don't want to die. They want long life. They don't want to get sick. What do they want? Healthy life. Yeah? Don't want to get old. Means always young, handsome or pretty. That they don't want to be born. Why? They said too much problem. The moment you are born, you have to go through what? Old age, sickness and death. And this is what the Buddha said, these are reality of life, you cannot escape. That's why the deluded mind wants the opposite 4. But is it possible? It's not possible. And the Buddha actually went in search for all this answer. Do you remember why he left the palace life? As a prince, he has very good life in there. He has the 4 seasons, the 4 palace. And he has the best of everything. And yet, when he saw the 4 signs, he decided to give up all this and go in search of answers to all this. So how does he finally won over this search? The first sign he saw is what? The 4 sign. An old, weak man who is so fragile, so weak, so old, so haggard, full of disease. So, old age, he doesn't understand. He asked the attendant, who is this person? How come he is like that? Then the attendant explained to him, oh Lord, he said, this is an old man. What do you mean by an old man? He said, everybody has to become old if you live long enough. Then the Buddha asked, do you mean one day I also become like him if I live long enough? He said, yeah. Then he said, whatever he experienced at the palace is not real. Because finally he has a problem. He will become old. Then he saw the sick man, so sick, so full of disease and all things. He said, you mean one day this body of mine also will be subject to all this? Then he knew he has a problem. Then the third one, he saw a dead man. He said, you mean this body of mine also must die? Then he cannot take it anymore. He said, I have a problem. All these are not real, impermanent. Because finally I still got no answer to getting old, getting sick and die. Then the last sign he saw is what? A monk, samana, very calm, very serene. Then he asked the attendant, who is he? He said, this is the person who searched for answer to the first three. That's why he wanted to follow him. He decided to renounce the world. And he became an ascetic. Then how did he meditate and awaken? He meditated and awakened because he realized this form of mind, the so-called human being, because we are born as human, that's why we have a human body and a human mind. So this is the human being. Yeah. So we have a physical body, and we have a mind, or physical form. Then we have a mind. After he meditated, he realized this human being is not him. This human being that gets sick, gets old, and finally die, and that means this mind, which is consciousness, just separate from the physical form. Then he became enlightened. Then he said, my problem no more. That's why his first noble truth is very powerful, the final summary. What is the final summary? The Buddha said, in short, it is these five aggregates of grasping that give rise to suffering. These five grasping aggregate born of self-delusion, where you think this one is you. You think every experience that you come to experience through the mind, the consciousness, is real. And this is the secret of his success, his awakening. He just realized this, and he awakened to the truth. That this five aggregate of form and mind is empty, non-self, impermanent, lead to suffering. It has the universal characteristic that this is condition arising, causal phenomena. And this one is karmically conditioned out for each and every one of us to come to this existential world, to experience karma, to experience life, to live life, to develop the cultivation and all those things. And this is our vehicle and tool to come. And this is a very important understanding. That's why with this understanding, the Buddha has no more problem. That's the reason why he introduced this teaching to the world. So apart from the first four, birth, old age, sickness and death, he also has four more reality that complete the whole of life. He said the fifth reality is when there is separation. When there is separation from loved ones, your possession, your prized possession or things that you are holding on to dearly. So this separation, when it happens, it haunts the living being. It will cause you a lot of suffering, a lot of misery. So when it comes to separation, the Buddha actually gave it very deep understanding. Because in life, now we are in the modern society. So what you have to reflect on is, what are the conditions that can give rise to separation? First, separation from loved one. How does it happen? Death is one of them, isn't it? Then what else? Divorce. When relationship failure, when you don't like each other anymore, what happened? You seek divorce, isn't it? Then the spouse that is being cheated or jilted, or the girlfriend or boyfriend that has been jilted, will become miserable, isn't it? So all this is reality of life and existence. Then separation can be very, very traumatic, especially if you have children and it involves your in-laws, your parents, your wealth, your property. You're too rich, also your problem. You have to give away a lot of your wealth. Then all the dirty linen will be out in the public when you go for court case and you don't want to settle all this. Then what else? What are the conditions for separation? Sometimes there is forced separation. How did it happen? War. Nature's disaster, like Highland Tower. Then sometimes kidnap also lead to separation. Of course, that is part of that. Then sometimes because of circumstances, you are forced to give away your children because of poverty, or sometimes because of war or whatever. Then you get separated from them. So separation can happen in many ways. This is only loved one. But what about your possession, your wealth, your property, your investment? During economic crisis, during nature's disaster, sometimes the whole of your wealth can be wiped off overnight, just gone like that. When you make a wrong call, when you make a wrong decision, when you don't take care of your karma, it may just happen. Then your career, you can get a love letter one day and just lose your job like that. You may be very successful, highly paid, but you depend on the paycheck. Once the paycheck is withdrawn, especially politically appointed people, overnight they lost everything. Then last time you have heard of this Iraq and Kuwait war. Iraq overnight decided to attack Kuwait and take over the whole country, including the central bank. The Kuwaiti overnight lost everything. But they got good karma. What do? They go and see the Americans. They say, you bring back my sovereignty, I can agree on whatever. They got a lot of oil. That's why the US went and had the war with Iraq and liberate Kuwait. So sometimes all these are dependent originating condition. When condition no more overnight, you lost your sovereignty, you lost your citizenship, you lost your wealth, you even lost your whole central bank. Can you imagine? If one day Malaysia kena like that. Sometimes you don't need to have war to experience that. If G14 you all don't win, how? We may be in similar condition, if not worse, I also don't know. So all these are possible conditions for separation. But because most of us, our karma not bad. That's why we have this good condition. Then there is also what they call the sixth one. When you are with people whom you don't like. You know who are the people whom you don't like? Ladies will know. The first one they think of is one mother-in-law. Most difficult, but not so difficult compared to step-parent, stepmother, stepfather. And sometimes, often, you are in the orphanage. If your karma is such, you can be subject to a lot of abuses. So sometimes they have to go through this type of thing, child abuse. Then they have to confront people whom you don't like. And nowadays I realize career problem is the worst. A lot of young people have career problem. They came and talk to me. They came and see me. They say, Brother Teo, they have to confront such difficult bosses. And what is the fear? Yeah? Fear of losing that job. Fear of being sacked, publicly reprimanded. And nowadays bosses they are not the friendly type. They are all very demanding. Sometimes they used to have this saying, they use management by fear and harassment. They put fear in you and they harass you until the last drop of juice also come out. Because they say they pay you. So they harass you, they give you deadline. So if you don't know how to handle such thing, you don't have the dhamma, you can be afflicted, miserable. Then the first four we haven't really touched on it. Birth can also be very traumatic. If there is complication during birth, what happens? The mother's at risk, the child life at risk. Then when there is complication, it can be very traumatic, very serious. Then as you go through life, you experience disease, sickness. And nowadays there are a lot of traumatic disease. What are they? Very common one. What are they? Cancer, number one. Then heart attack, stroke, HIV. Some more? Depression, of course, mental depression, anxiety, fear, panic attack, a lot. Then human being cannot take stress, understand? So when they are subject to stress, they develop a lot of fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow and lamentation. Then they have this phobia trapped inside. Scars of memory, insecurity. All this is very traumatic. Then when they are confronted with financial problem, it's the same. True or not? When you grow old, you need to spend money. When you get sick, you need to spend money. When you die also, you need to spend money. So everything is about money. If you don't have the good karma, you cannot sustain yourself with a good financial position. It's not easy to live life, to confront life. And a lot of people find it very difficult to survive after they retire. Maybe for a few years, they can survive quite well with their EPF or whatever saving. But after that is drained, if they don't know how to grow their money, if they don't know how to invest or protect their wealth, then they will have to face financial problem. So financial problem, relationship problem, health problem, career problem, these are all the problems of life that can bring about suffering. And this is what the Buddha meant by the first noble truth reality of dukkha. Suffering is everywhere, prevalence of suffering. If you don't know this teaching, you cannot handle. But if you understand this teaching, all this is no more a problem. These are reality that happen to everyone, not only you. That's why when you understand that this is a common reality for mankind, you are not alone in this world, then you know how to confront them with wisdom, understanding. Then you can free. You can liberate your mind and go beyond. Then you have the wisdom born of this meditative understanding that the Buddha teach. The form and mind is not you. He no me, he no you. This one is subject to karma, subject to birth, old age, sickness and death. But your true nature is very beautiful. It has eternal life. It's never born. That's why it never dies. It never have to go through old age, sickness and death. That's why your mind can liberate. You can laugh at the dead because you know this is not you. These are unreal. The phenomenal world of consciousness is unreal, impermanent, lead to suffering, empty, non-self. These are the understanding that we need to liberate the mind. Then you can realize your true mind, your true nature. Then you realize that one is so beautiful. That one is the unconditioned, which is beyond all this. And that one can go above, transcend life, transcend everything within the conditioned world. So this is the reason why this teaching is very beautiful. Then the Buddha said, the seventh reality is when your expectations in life are not met, when you cannot get what you want, suffering comes about. When things don't go your way, you expect to be promoted, somebody else get promoted. Then what happens? You become full of envy, jealousy, unhappiness. That is what suffering is all about. Then you expect your spouse to remember your birthday, or your brothers and sisters to understand you, to love you, to help you. Then when something happened to you, they are not around. Then how do you feel? I have a few people who are depressed came and talked to me. He said, Brother Theo, after what happened, they go through first noble truth reality. Some of them hit by more than one of the reality, 2 or 3, and very traumatic. One of the lady, the mother died when she was quite young. She was still a college student. Then later on, boyfriend left her, traumatic her. But because of dhamma, she turned around beautifully. Then we have a lot of other example and situation. Because they have this expectation, and they came and tell me, say, Brother Theo, when the husband is very successful, managing director of a main board listed company, suddenly just heart attack died at the age of 60 something, and the wife cannot take it. That's why finally the condition brought him to see me, and I explained the dhamma. Then she recovered very beautifully. And in her own words, you know what she told me? She said, Brother Theo, first noble truth reality, noble truth of suffering, no need to explain. I know it inside out. Because she was in depression for 3 years after the husband died. Very traumatic. Then because of the understanding, she turned around and she became more happy. Because I told her it's a blessing in disguise. Without this thing happening, you don't have condition to meet up with the Dhamma. You cannot understand all this. And this one, money cannot buy. Not only this life, all your future life, you will benefit from it. Then he said, yeah, that time the reason why he went into depression is because he said when she was at home, everything she saw remind her of her husband. You can understand that very easily there. Everything they buy together, they travel together, the photo, the album, the computer thing, and even the art and all those things they buy, where they can afford, they travel all over the world. Everything remind them of the good moments and all those things. Then when all these things happen, suddenly life like completely destroyed. Then she had this thought telling her, without my husband, I am nobody, I am nothing. All the what they call the husband's social friends, contact, the dato, the tansri and all those things, they will not drop by anymore. Then that fear project, that's why I went into depression. Her life is going to be very bad, very miserable. Then later on he saw some of his friends came and see her. Then again the thought project. You know what the thought project? The thought tell her, see, your brother, your sister also never come. Instead your friend come. And he started to develop the hatred towards the brother and sister. This is expectation, understand? when your expectation in life is not met. The wrong thought is crazy, full of delusion, illusion. That's how people who are very strong in their character, very successful in their life, when they are hit with the first noble truth, they really cannot take it. They like paralyzed. And you know what she told me a lot. Went to psychiatrists. So many. Take medication. Doesn't help. Suicidal thought everywhere. Then at a certain stage you won't complain. Why is my husband like that? Left me alone. Left so fast. So all these are the thoughts telling her. That's why when she understands the Dhamma, then she came out. She walked out of it. I told her these are reality. You like it or not, happened already, gone already. You go and project your thought, cling and hold on to all this, no use. This is what the Buddha meant by attachment to the five aggregates of form and mind. Leads to suffering, dukkha. And what are the five aggregates she attached to? Huh? First one is what? Huh? No, that one is the senses. The first aggregate. The husband. Understand all? The five aggregate of form and mind of the husband. Then after that, he attached to what? The feeling and the sensation and the emotion that arise. You understand all? She felt so miserable, so full of sorrow and lamentation. And all these are wrong thoughts that condition all this nonsense. This one Eric will know. All of your fear, worry, anxiety, phobia, and this can cripple you. It can lower your immune system and make you miserable. And you are not strong in your karmic inheritance. You may get cancer and other things. Depression is very common. Then what happens is, as you go through life, you start to see more and more of these things happening to the world, to fellow living beings. And what she shared with me was so beautiful, because I can relate them all. That's why now I share with you all, is because she told me all these things. He said, came home, everything he see, did not stay in the bedroom. Worse. Everything bring back that memory. So the aggregate that he attached to, not only the form, to the feeling, to the memory. Understand? What is memory? Sankhara. The mental states, the good time that they have. Then to all the conscious moment that she able to recall through the memory. So all the five aggregates, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, she attached, she clung. That's why she became miserable, tormented, cannot free. Not until she met me, then I help her. You know how I help her? I never ask her to meditate. I just talk to her about life. I said, your life, you hold the key to your own life destiny. Why are you so miserable? Why are you not happy? Because each and every one of us, we hold the key to our own life destiny. True or not? To be happy or to be unhappy is entirely your choice. You can choose. Don't tell me you don't know how to choose. Choose to be happy. But why are you not happy? Why are you not happy? Because they don't have the Dhamma, the Sana. They attach and cling. It's like they hold on to this. Let's say this is red hot, molten, burning. If you attach, hold on to this, what happens? It will burn you, torment you, isn't it? True or not? Make you miserable, isn't it? And you know what they tell you? This is my problem, Lord. How can I not hold on to it and worry about it? I say, there are two things you can do. You hold on to it, worry about it, and become miserable over it, which is a common mistake of most humanity and human beings. This one is stupidity. You don't know how to choose. You choose to be miserable. Understand? If you continue to do that, you know what your life is. You have been in that state for 3 years. Do you want to come out? You want to come out very easy. Don't hold. Don't hold means what? It's not burning me, tormenting me, and causing me problem. Understand? But don't hold doesn't mean the problem is gone, no. You understand or not? You need wisdom to come out of it, no. Let's say financial problem. You can never go and tell this guy, hey, all these are not real, no, impermanent, no, lead to suffering, no, empty nature, non-self. He said, the hell with you. Understand? No? Financial problem is financial problem. Health problem is health problem. How can you tell me all these are not real? These are as real as it can be. Then why did I say, don't hold? Don't hold means what? Develop the wisdom that the Buddha has taught us. What did the Buddha taught us? Learn to see things as they are. Because these are First Noble Truth reality. Not only you are confronted with it. It's a common reality for all of humanity. So if it's a common reality, then why do you worry? The only difference between one who suffers and one who don't suffer is the one who suffers doesn't know this teaching. Doesn't know how to deal with it. The one who doesn't suffer has the wisdom, has the understanding of the teaching, and he knows how to deal with it. So what I'm trying to tell all these people is, I say very simple. Don't hold means what? Don't deludedly cling onto that thought. Understand now? That thought is not your friend. Because you are not enlightened. You have delusion. When you have delusion, you create wrong thought. Then I tell them what is wrong thought. All of your anger, hatred, phobia, insecurity are all this rubbish. These are all wrong thoughts. Then she write it down. Then she realized these are all the things that she has been thinking. And it has become like a cocoon of thought. Keep on repeating like a tape recorder inside her brain. That's why she cannot come out. Huh? This one Eric will laugh. He gone through. And he also came out very fast. You ask Eric. So when you understand all this, then you realize these are all wrong thoughts. So what must I do? I have to accept that these are reality of life and existence. Death is a reality. Happen already. So what? If I accept means I no need to fear. I no need to worry. I no need to have all this wrong thought. I tell myself, I have to move on. I have my life. Why must I allow this to ground me and make me so miserable? If I do that, means I don't love myself. You can understand that? You don't love yourself. Don't think negatively. A lot of people say, hey, crazy, I love yourself. There is a English word in there. What is the word? When you love yourself. But not in that sense. Means you fall in love with yourself, you understand? With the image that you see on the mirror, all those things. Not that type of love. The love, what is it? Oh, no, not that one. Never mind. What I try to explain to you is, you see, loving yourself means you ask yourself, we have been parents before, even those not married also you will know. If you love somebody, of course not the boyfriend and girlfriend type, that one can lead to hatred, jealousy and all those things. That one is different type of love. When you genuinely love somebody, especially your children, or your brothers, your sister, or your parent, what will you do? You will go all out to protect them, is it? To provide for them and sacrifice for them, is it? And do whatever you can, is it? So that they are not harmed, so that they can have the good life. That is loving somebody whom you really love. Understand? So loving yourself means what? You do the same. Do not allow yourself to be miserable, unhappy, afflicted. But what are you doing? You are using the thought wrongly. The thought is your tool, beautiful tool. You use it to cut yourself, harm yourself, hurt yourself like a knife, make yourself so miserable. And that is the wrong way of using your thought. Do you understand? That's why you better wake up. Because this thought is like a tool, T-O-O-L, for us to use. And it's like a knife. And what is a knife? Help you to cut vegetable, cut fruits, shape things that are useful. But you use that knife foolishly to cut yourself, harm yourself, hurt yourself, and hit at others. Is that the right way of using that knife? You are causing a lot of karmic repercussion. You understand? But precisely the person who is in depression, suffering mind state, they are doing that to themselves. Using the thought wrongly to harm themselves, to hurt themselves, and make themselves so miserable, so depressed, so unhappy. And when you see this, you better wake up and learn to love yourself. Love yourself means you will never allow yourself to go through this misery, this suffering. And this is what the first noble truth is all about. The Buddha said in the second noble truth, the cause of suffering is attachment, craving, clinging, grasping to the five aggregate of form and mind. And this is what you have been doing, living being has been doing. So when I know the cause, I can reverse it, isn't it? These are reality of life and existence. What happened is the first noble truth reality. Why can't I accept it? Then my thought got no power over me. Cannot project, cannot do all those things, cannot torment me because I'm not holding on to it. Understand or not? I'm accepting it. I tell myself. I do not perceive what happened. Take for example the husband that passed away. I do not perceive it with negativity anymore, sorrow, lamentation, and sadness anymore. Why? Because death is a reality. Separation is a reality. So I accept the reality. Means, no matter what I do, this is a reality. I have to start from this understanding to free my mind. So if I accept means I am at peace. True or not? And I have right view with regards to law of karma. So I perceive whatever happened as a reality, then I use it to turn myself around. Then I reflect. This is karma. Because my husband's time is up. Maybe he has a mission somewhere. He has to go and do something for somebody or help people elsewhere. For me, even without him, I have the means to survive because he left behind a lot of things. Understand or not? So if I perceive it with wholesomeness, then I can accept this reality and tell myself, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. If this thing won't happen, I won't question life because everything is too good. She agreed with me. I say, if this thing don't happen, do you think you will come to Dhamma class? Listen to Dhamma. He said, no way. Because they can travel all over the world. And every year, they can afford a lot of things. And life was so beautiful, so good. And they get to know so many great people, wealthy people, of all type of classes. And they are also quite simple. So because of that, she starts to understand. Then when she starts to understand, she turns around beautifully. Then every time the wrong thought comes, the right effort to abandon and prevent it from arising, straight away arise. She said, enough. Torment me long enough already. My life, I decide. I'm not going to think of all this. Then he can accept everything that happened in the house. From that onward, no more. The reality is, he's gone. Finished. Then I say, you want to do something to help him in return. You can, the Buddhist way. Make donation under your husband's name. Understand or not? Make offering. Then share merit, transfer merit. Wish him all the best. in all his future life, future endeavor. Then if you really want to help him more, you can invoke power of merits and all those things. Yeah. Then develop the joy, the understanding, the happiness. Yeah. Then perceive it with wholesomeness. It's a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, I cannot know this teaching. Yeah. And now she is so beautiful, and it has happened over 10 years ago. See? And people recover so well. And this is all because of dhamma. After that, the drugs that she received from the psychiatrist, all those things, she asked me, need to take or not? I say, up to you. He said, it's like, without the drug also no problem already. At first he reduced the dosage. Then I said, you can give it out. They really give it out. A few of them give it out and nothing happened. Because when you are on that type of drug, sometimes it is a tranquilizer to make you have the ability to sleep. Otherwise they have this, what they call insomnia. They cannot sleep because of the wrong thought, the depression and all those things. Then as they recover, all this subside. Their mind state become more calm. Last time she cannot sleep, hardly sleep. And now you know what she told me? She can sleep very well. Since about 6-7 years ago. He said, can sleep very well, because now no more of this type of thought come and haunt her. Because she understands the reality is he's gone. And all this happened because of a reason. Blessing in disguise. I said, it's time for you to turn to the Dhamma already. Then she understands that she has a lot of affinity with my nature. That's why she was very, very happy. And she just came out of it. Then people with disease sickness also same. I say, you got two choices. Let's say cancer, okay? Biopsy result come out positive. So what are you going to do? You got again two choices. First, project your thought, worry about it and panic. And do all the stupid thing and make yourself miserable. That is one way, which most people without the Dhamma will do. Now that you have the Dhamma, why can't you accept it as a reality? Then what must you do? You need to ask for second opinion, ask for second opinion. But the moment I accept this reality and I accept karma as the cause, then I can free my mind. Then I can make use of whatever I understand to turn things around. Then I perceive all this with wholesomeness. Then I tell myself, this is a blessing in disguise. Without this disease, I cannot cultivate the first noble truth, second turning. You know what is the first noble truth, second turning? This noble truth of dukkha or suffering is to be understood. If you don't know how to understand, then with clarity of mind, with understanding, no more thought projection, no more fear, worry, anxiety, you are peaceful. You have clarity. That's why you can act. Act with what? Act with wisdom. Acting according to wisdom or understanding is true action. You don't go and act according to memory, because that is not acting at all. Because memory has all the rubbish inside there. Your scars of memory, your fear, your phobia, your unhappy moments, your misery, your sorrow and your lamentation, and your insecurity. Everything is there. The insecurity comes from your mind that wants to be safe. And you have so much craving, desire. You want things your way. And when things don't go your way, you reacted out of it. You become miserable. That's why you lack peace. You lack confidence. You lack love. You lack compassion. You lack this understanding in you. You don't have right view. And all these are due to self-delusion. So memories are your accumulation of experiences, good and bad. And most of the people carry the negative one. Your fear, your worry, your anxiety, sorrow, lamentation, phobia, and all those insecurities. Your unhappy moments. Especially scars of memory, which you recall. So these are the dhamma way that you can use conducively to free your mind. Then when you reflect, do I have the right understanding? Do I love myself? Do I deludedly create all this suffering unnecessarily? Then when you understand all this, you start to reflect, contemplate, and you start to write it down, then you will become different. Then you realize actually suffering need not be. Suffering is something you create through your own thought, through your own self-delusion, wrong view, through your own ignorance that condition you to grasp, cling, and worry about them. Then the worry is a projected fear. That's why it leads to all the sorrow, lamentation, then finally depression, panic attack, and all those things. And this is what Dhamma is all about. So, coming back to the teaching, we so far have gone through the first noble truth and the second noble truth. But the third noble truth we haven't gone in. Yeah? So, the first noble truth, I finished the first 7. The last one is, the Buddha summarized all of suffering. He said, in short, it is due to our self-delusion that condition us to believe that this human being is real. And this is what we call the 5 aggregate of form and mind. The Buddha said, when you grasp and cling to all these 5 aggregates of form and mind, you will suffer. You will become miserable. So in the Mahayana tradition, or in Mandarin, it's called Wu Yun. Wu Yun, Jie Kong. The 5 aggregates are empty. So these 5 aggregates got 2 aspects. First aspect is as a human being, the Buddha said. As a human being, you have a physical body or a physical form. So this is your form, rupang, se yun. Okay? Then you have a consciousness, mind. The Buddha said there are 4 aggregates of mind. You just have to inquire if you want to understand these 4 aggregates. What can my mind do? What can your mind do? Your mind can feel that you have the feeling aggregate, Vedana. Your mind can perceive things. That's why it has the aggregate of sanya. Then your mind can arise mental thinking, mental activity, mental states, mental intention. And all the whatever that your mind can do is under sankhara. Even your planning, your scheming, your whatever thing that you want to do, that is under sankhara. Then the last aggregate is your mind can be conscious. Conscious of what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you tactily feel and think. So the form aggregate, together with the 4 mind aggregate of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana, give rise to the first aspect of the 5 aggregates of form and mind. And this one is a human being. And the Buddha said these 5 aggregates, they are dependent originating, condition arising. There are 3 conditions within for this human being to come to life. You can animate it. First, there must be a physical body that is functional. Means all the organ is still intact. No major organ having problem. Then secondly is you have a consciousness trapped inside. This consciousness is very important for you to arise the aggregates of mind. Then lastly is your karmic force, your life force. From your karmic nature, it comes and pump your heart. That's why you have the heartbeat. And what is your heartbeat? That is your pulse of life. And we had a book. I did a sharing on this book where somebody asked a question. What is the difference between the heart and the mind? And it's the blue book. After those who don't have, you can collect them. So the heart and the mind, they are 2 different things. So the heart is where the life force resides. Seat of consciousness. So when the life force comes, it pumps your heart. That is your karmic force, supporting karmic force. And this one will trigger off that heart pumping process to send the blood to all your organs, to nourish them. That's how you have life. If your karmic force no more, let's say suddenly destructive karma come, life force gone, the heart stop pumping. What happened? You say die. Who died? Nobody died. It's just this consciousness flow down. The organ cannot support the consciousness that exists because no more oxygen, no more nourishment. The system shut down. Then this consciousness cannot stay inside. It will leave. It's just separation of the consciousness from the form. And sometimes the karmic force is there, the consciousness is there, but your spinal cord injured or your major heart attack. Again, it cannot sustain. The karmic force cannot be received. Again, the human being has to die. And we call this death. But actually, no one died. Who died? What died? What is death? That's why when you meditate, you can understand. All this will be very clear to you. And you can see clearly the aggregates. This is the first aspect as a human being. The second aspect is, the Buddha said, our mind has 4 aggregates. Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, is it? But every time you perceive through Sanya, you bring the external form into the mind. Like the Buddha image. How do you know it? Through perception. You perceive it. Then this external form enters the mind. So the 4 aggregates of mind, together with the external form, become the 5 aggregates. And this is the nama rupa within the 12 link. And this is the one that the Buddha talked about. The mental 5 aggregate of form and mind. So the 12 link, Paticca Samuppada, has the first 4 link. Avijja Pajja Sankhara, first 2. Sankhara Pajja Vijnana, mental consciousness. Then when you input the content of consciousness, it becomes Namarupam. The content of consciousness is your perception, your Sankhara, and whatever the mind introduce, your mental intention, everything. So this will trigger off the thought, which is the 5 aggregate of form and mind, second aspect. And that is the one that the Buddha teach, and the Buddha is interested in. And that is the one that can be meditated on and awaken the true mind, awaken the understanding for your form and mind to liberate, to awaken, to become enlightened. So this teaching is very unique and very beautiful. So this 5 aggregate of form and mind, when you meditate, when you understand, then you will not be deluded, you will not be deceived, you will not be like affected. Yeah. Then you will understand clearly what mind is all about. Why the Buddha said mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. And mind is just consciousness. And the phenomenal world of consciousness that we are living in is just consciousness, not real. They come and they go. They arise and they pass away. That's why they have this impermanent characteristic. And you attach, cling and hold and grasp to the aggregates, you suffer, you become miserable. And because they are impermanent, it's not a permanent, unchanging entity. That's why it's not real, it's not you, non-self, empty. Everything is dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena, no reality. As real as can be is only the moment, the only reality in life. A split second is gone. How real can be the moment be? And all this understanding you will have as you meditate, as you develop the understanding, and you will awaken to all this. And this is the part that you need most. The first noble truth and the second noble truth. But this will explain to you all of the mundane aspect of life. When you understand the Four Noble Truths, you understand life complete, both mundane and supramundane. So the first two Noble Truths is about the mundane aspect of life. And whatever you experience in life, you can translate them into the eight reality. Nothing is beyond them. That's why the Buddha is very wise. This eight reality cover everything. You can tell me any aspect of life. I can explain to you why it's covered under this eight reality. It can never be beyond this eight reality. Yeah. That's why the first Noble Truth is like explaining to you the reality of life and existence, the mundane aspect. Then the second Noble Truth is to give you the understanding that there is a cause behind, so that you are not deluded. So when you understand the cause of your suffering, you can reverse it, yeah. You can do something about it, yeah. You can manage it better, yeah. That's why this teaching is very important. If you don't know what attachment is, what craving is, what self-delusion and ignorance is, then you cannot do anything. Then you will arise the wrong thought and get yourself entangled and become afflicted. And this is the first Noble Truth. Prevalence of suffering. Suffering is everywhere, and you have to confront them every moment, every instant. But when you have the understanding, you can go beyond. That's why the Buddha, under the third Noble Truth, he said, there is a third Noble Truth that can explain to you clearly that suffering need not be. You don't have to go through suffering. All this will not afflict you and affect you. The first Noble Truth. When you have the understanding of his teaching, when you know that this five aggregate of form and mind is unreal, the two aspects, then you get insight into phenomena to realize the three universal characteristics. Then all this understanding will liberate your mind. Then you get to live the third phase of Dhamma, the life of an enlightened being, free of suffering, free of misery, unhappiness, or whatever. And you will have the good life, the noble life. So this is the beauty of this teaching. And this enlightenment can be realized. The Buddha said, there is such thing as the Noble Truth of Nibbana, enlightenment in the here and the now, cessation of form and mind. You can realize the unconditioned. And the Buddha said in the teaching, if it's not because of the existence of this supramundane state of the unconditioned, escape from the conditioned world is impossible. That's why Nibbana can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. And you don't have to wait till you die to realize that. So this is the uniqueness of the Buddha's teaching. Salvation is not promised to you after you die. That one could be quite dangerous. What happens after you die? That promise is not fulfilled. You better realize it before you die. Then later on you will come to know nothing died, no one died. That's why you're free. And you can really confront death with understanding. Like my teacher said, you can laugh at the dead. Means not somebody dying. No. You can die before your own form and mind die. You can have the understanding and laugh at the dead. Means before this form and mind separate. The understanding can be there. So the fourth Noble Truth is what we are interested in, the cultivation part. Then the Buddha said there is a fourth Noble Truth, namely the Noble Eightfold Path. You cultivate this Noble Eightfold Path, it will lead to the end of all suffering. And that is the meditation. You meditate to become enlightened, so that you are free of what? So it's a Noble Eightfold Path, the meditation. He said, the Buddha promised you, there is this Noble Eightfold Path. If you cultivate it, it will bring about the end of all suffering. And that is the meditation. You still think the method and the technique is the meditation. After you have insight into phenomena, after you have realized Vipassana, you still got to go back to Noble Eightfold Path. Do you know that? You still need to know what this form and mind is all about. What are the three right views? But his teaching is very easy, actually, very simple. The Buddha's teaching is about truth, nature's truth. He said when you understand his teaching, you understand life. You understand all aspects of life, both the mundane and supra-mundane. So to me, it's like you understand the secret of life. So when you understand the secret of life, you know how to live life. That's why the three right views are very important. The three spiritual right views. There are 5 nature's order that governs life and existence, the Buddha said. Pancha niyama. The first 2 are scientific law. Uttu niyama and bija niyama. Uttu are the nature's physical order. Bija niyama is nature's biological order. And these 2 the scientists has penetrated quite deep, quite well. That's why they are able to come out with a lot of understanding and advances within our civilization. That's why we progress very fast over the last 4 decades. But the other 3 spiritual laws are equally important, because this one involves life, existence. That's why the Buddha is, in a way, like the scientist. He understands these 3 spiritual laws, the right view, very clearly, very deeply. That's why he is the Sammasambuddha. So like the scientist, when you understand the 3 spiritual laws, you become very wise in the spiritual field. And you can understand everything that happens within the spiritual field. That's why the first right view the Buddha teaches karma niyama, the law of karma. And from there, his teaching come about. His advice to avoid all evil, do good, purify the mind, come from that law of karma. But that law of karma in our 5 daily contemplation, essential dhamma, the Buddha actually teaches this 5 daily contemplation to overcome the first noble truth and to understand the law of karma, so that we can get this understood and cultivate correctly. He said, the first contemplation, actually the first 3, are related to this physical body. He said, this physical body of ours, every day you have to contemplate. It's of the nature to grow old, to get sick and die. For it has not gone beyond old age, sickness and death. So now you understand. This body is not you, made of element, goes the way of nature. That's why it's subject to old age, sickness and death. And it's not you. So why you worry? But when you attach to this body thinking it's you, what will happen to you? You will worry about it, getting old, getting sick, and one day die. That's how human beings become problematic. Human beings become deluded because they don't have the understanding. And it's very difficult to tell people, hey, this is not you. He said, the hell with you, not me. I want to run, I run. I want to laugh, I laugh. I want to cry, I cry. I want to commit suicide, also can. You say, not me. See? How are you going to answer them? Huh? Why don't you ask them another question? You think it's you? When you are paralyzed from the waist down, you ask the body to walk and see. Stand also cannot stand. Then is it you? So the analogy of the car and the driver is very good. What is a car? Car is a vehicle to take you around with it. So like this physical body, take you around. Who is the one that moves the car around? The driver, is it? So inside your body, there is an analogy. The consciousness is the one that drives you around, understand? This one decides where to go, understand? Then the body takes the instruction and go. But like the car and the driver, you know very clearly that neither the car or the driver is you. Who are you? You are the owner. You are the tauke that sit behind there. Correct? So if there's any accident to the car, you worry or not? You suffer or not? You become miserable. Maybe your pocket suffer. Understand? But physically, you are not entangled. Understand? But mentally, you are entangled. Then the driver, you can see clearly, the driver is the driver, the car is the car. But when the 2 combine, you think it's real. You think it belongs to you. Alarm trigger already. I just finished all this part. So, In a similar way, you can understand, then you realize, if the body is not me, if the consciousness trapped inside also not me, then who am I? What am I? You have a nature that is completely beyond this. And this one is the unconditioned. Your true nature, your eternal nature, the unborn. That's why you meditate to realize that. Then your problem is no more. Like the Buddha underneath the Bodhi tree, he connect and he realized that and he awakened. Then there is no more fear of dying. Who died? What died? The form and mind is not you. They go the way of nature. But you have to be careful. This is subject to karma. That's why you have to understand. So like the car and the driver, the conditions are there, then they perform a function, then you can move it around. But let's say there is no petrol, or some vital part of the car damaged. Can you drive the car? Even F1, Formula 1 champion also cannot drive the car. Understand? That's why these are condition arising entity. When the conditions are there, it performs a function, it's like it exists, real. But when conditions cease to be, it ceases to be. That's why they are not real, not you. When consciousness is out, this body goes the way of nature. That's why contemplation on death, you will understand all this. So these are the teachings which are very important, very comprehensive and very beautiful. So law of karma is one of them. Then after that, the Buddha talked about separation. Whatever that you think you own, your loved one, your prized possession, your property, your wealth, whatever, they are dependent originating, condition arising. When condition is there, it appears like it belongs to you. But when conditions is to be, it will separate from you. Either you separate from them first, or when conditions is to be, they separate from you first. How do you separate from them? When your breath stops, your identity erased, you are gone. When you are gone, how can you own anything? That's why only the foolish people lament, the Buddha says, my son, my wealth, my property, my possession. This, the Buddha said, only the fools, F-O-O-L-S, lament. For that very body also doesn't belong to him. Wherein son, wherein wealth, wherein possession. So all these are very beautiful teaching. If you understand, you become beautiful. Then the last one he said, we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma, and we are what we are because of our karma. This is the fifth contemplation, the last one. And this is related to the law of karma. So if you know your entire life depends 100% on karma, what must you do? We are born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. And we are what we are every moment, every instant because of our karma. So we have to take care of karma, so that karma can take care of our life. And how do we take care of karma? We have to follow the advice of the Buddha. That's why his advice is what? Avoid all evil, do good, purify. That's how the teaching come about. And how to avoid all evil? He teach you what? Just how we did at the opening puja. Keep your precept. That's how the teaching come. Then how do you do good? Cultivate Noble Eightfold Path. Right view leading to right thought, right speech, right action. Then how do you meditate? Right mindfulness and right samadhi. That's how you develop the cultivation. So this second part, developing the cultivation, is very easy when you understand the teaching. Then you couple with what I give you in the introduction just now, because the Buddha under Dhammapada verse 21, 22, 23, and even before he died, his emphasis is only on heedfulness. And to be heedful, there are two parts. Ever mindful plus constantly meditative, means cultivating Noble Eightfold Path. So to be ever mindful, you must train your mind to be mindful first. That is what meditation is all about. Nothing to do with method and technique. People who need method and technique because the spiritual faculty are not there. That's why the mental hindrance make them miserable. Then they need all those skillful means. Otherwise you don't need. Then when you have the mindfulness developed, stabilize it to make it ever mindful until you realize pasati, until the mind enters sati. And then in the midst of life, you have this quality of ever mindful, you can cultivate Noble Eightfold Path, and you are destined for enlightenment. And this is the complete understanding of the teaching and the cultivation. Okay? With this we end.